What's up, guys? My name is James. I'm one of the owners here at Elite Motor Group. We just released one video last week and we are going to go ahead and cover a new topic, lease versus purchasing. And honestly, the purpose of these videos is to simply give you more insight of what the auto industry is like and the information that we all wish we got. I always tell people I ended up in this industry by accident and I never realized how much of my finance background would imply. And I say, I hated when my parents bought cars because I was 13 years old and I knew these salesmen were full of crap and they didn't benefit and they just kind of wanted to get the car in and tally out. But I hope a lot in these additional videos that you take a lot from it. If you have something that you guys want us to cover, questions, just go ahead and comment, subscribe, share, and hopefully this can benefit you, your friend, and your family. So we'll go ahead and get started. Lease versus purchase. Payments on depreciation only on a lease. So again, this means if the bank says how many miles a year are you going to drive. Say, okay, I'm driving 12,000. That's 3 years. Times 3 years, 36,000 miles. So they say, okay, based on what you're telling us in the contract you're going to sign, is the car is going to depreciate $10,000. So you divide $10,000 by 36 months because that's 3 years, and you'll go ahead and get whatever that payment is. So that's why the payment's a lot cheaper, anywhere from $150 to $250, $300. Purchase. Obviously, you're going to pay payments on the entire car. So the car costs $20,000. You're going to pay the taxes on that. You can pay registration. It adds up real quick. So you're paying the entire car in 5 years. Taxes on monthly payment only. If the payment's only $250 and your tax rate from home is 9.5, you're only going to pay 9.5% on $250. On a purchase, you're going to pay 9.5% on $20,000. It's a lot more. So this is why the payments start going lower. Next one is down payment on $2,000. So on lease, if you're 1099, this is the reason a lot of people do $0 to $2,000 down. They do the minimal because they know they're not going to keep the car for 2-3 years. If you're going to purchase, I typically recommend 20%, and we'll emphasize more on that as we continue here. If you plan to keep the car more than 4 years, go ahead and purchase. Do not do lease to buy, because if you do lease to buy, you're going to do 3 years lease, and then you're going to do another 5 years. That's an 8-year loan. If you calculate the amount of interest, I know you don't care right now, but it just not makes sense. This is the reason salesmen guide you towards lease versus purchase, because they know you're a little bit more payment sensitive. They're not really there to consult you on your best interest. They just kind of want to sell you the car, get you in and out, and I probably what you want. I prefer not to sell you the car in that aspect, but that's my opinion and what I always tell people. On the next slide, ability to drive a more expensive car. So, a lot of people will go ahead and buy the Mercedes because they live down the street, the payment's cheaper, and they're not going to drive that much. On a purchase, there's typically the commuters. So if you drive a lot, you're going to go for the Toyota, the Honda, knowing you're going to run the car down, and that's probably the best advice. Next one is the BMW and the Camaro comparison. So I actually did quotes on this, and this is why it came up to mind to do this car. Is someone wanted a Camaro LT because the SS is definitely like $20,000 more. The Camaro is a car that depreciates a lot, but different car, BMW, Camaro. The BMW is $42,900. The Camaro is $36,000. You would think, for those that are not very savvy with the auto industry, is that the car that's cheaper, the lease payment is going to be cheaper. That's not necessarily true, and this is why. So $1,000 down, residual value. This pretty much says, this is very important, this is on your contract, so you want to see it. So it says, after your lease, what are you going to pay for your car? So again, if the bank says, okay, you're going to use 36,000 miles in 3 years, the car is only going to depreciate to $26,000. If you want to buy it at the end of the lease, you're going to pay $26,000. You signed for this at the very beginning. You can look at your contract. A lot of people get upset when it comes down to the end of the lease and they say they want to go to the dealership and negotiate and say, well, I want to buy the car for cheaper. Just to clarify, the dealership, when you sign this lease, they don't own the car anymore. The bank rips them a check as if it was a purchase. So if you got it from BMW Financial and you got the car from BMW Monrovia, doesn't matter. It no longer belongs to BMW Monrovia. So you cannot negotiate this. It's very important. So on this one, you'll notice that from 42.9, the BMW went down to 26. On the Camaro, from 36, it went down to 18. So the amount that depreciate it, you can divide that, minus that, and notice that it's a lot lower. The money factor is the AKA of an APR. So we're all used to knowing the interest rate in a purchase. In a lease, again, they just make it in a decimal, so it's called money factor. On the BMW, you can see it's only 3.4%. On the Camaro, it's 4.6%. The reason that typically cars that depreciate a lot more, the reason that the rate is higher typically is because the bank needs to learn how to get a lot of the money back due to the depreciation of the vehicle. Because if the dealership doesn't buy the car from the bank at the end of the lease, they just throw it into auction. So obviously everyone's in the business to make money. Here's the difference. BMW, $400, $450, $50 difference. If you multiply $50 by, I don't know, let's just say a 3-year lease, it's a huge difference. So you'll save a good chunk. If you have any questions on this one, again, just comment, let us know. Let me know how I can emphasize on things. Send us, whatever other ideas you want me to clarify on. But we'll go ahead and move on to the next one. Again, on lease versus purchase, we already covered the new car every 2-3 years. You plan to keep the car for 4+ years, definitely buy it. Ability to drive a more expensive car, drive a less expensive car, and then pay mileage overage below 5K. So what I mean on this side of the lease, if you know you're going to go over the miles on a car and you still want to swap cars every 3 years, even if you go over 5,000 miles, it's still worth it to pay the mileage overage. And we'll emphasize on that in a little bit, but because here's what happens. So I obviously own a car lot, and we're almost a full concierge service. So we consignment, we broker, and we retail our own cars. When people come trade in the cars, from what I'm going to buy it at and resell it at, because I'm a volume store, again, I only make small profits. Most people are upside down $5,000. Sometimes I have to tell them, keep the car. I don't want to add negative equity because then I'm going to feel like the bad guy. So if you purchase, again, and you know you're going to swap 3 years, pay the mileage overage. It's worth it, and I'll emphasize that more. And we'll go on to the next here. For example, here's the mileage overage breakdown that I did. So 20 cents a mile is typically on Toyota Honda. Move over here real quick. So on the Toyota Honda, 20 cents a mile. So if you do 5,000 miles overage, it's only $1,000. It's a lot better than being upside down $5,000. You're still winning $4,000. BMW and Mercedes is typically 30 cents a mile. If you went over 5,000 miles, only $1,500. You're still $3,500 in the green. This is the way I look at it. You go 30 cents a mile, 10,000 miles, it's 3,000. You're still winning, So, and just take into consideration, obviously, if you're driving this much, going to the mileage overage, you are going to have to put new tires on the car before you return it to a lease. You may have some scratches. If you're in the position now, I have clients who come and hey James, I need new tires for my car. I give those things to my customers at cost because it lets me stay in touch with them naturally. So it's typically save $200-300. Bumpers, again, they'll say, hey, I have a scratch on my bumper. Say, hey, my cost is $200. Bring it down. We'll fix it for you so you can return the lease, because a dealership would charge you like $500 if the bumper's really messed up, depending on what it is. So my sources are available to you in that aspect. And then again, here you'll see the $5,000 difference lost, the taxes, $2,000 to $4,000 depending, and $1,000 in fees, registration. These two things are typically what put you upside down, and why I recommend if you're in this bubble. Again, if you need me to emphasize on this, let me know. We'll move on to the next one here. And again, money factor is just in a decimal, so it's just the way of saying APR in a purchase. It's known as an APR. On the next one, lease to buy. Recommended? No. So I definitely don't recommend it. And again, it's just one of those things that the reason salesmen or your family members tell you to do this is because they've done it. But if you really think about it, you're leasing for 3 years and then you're financing for 5 years. That's an 8-year loan. That's ridiculous. You definitely don't want to do that. If you're doing this, you're trying to ball out a budget, and it's definitely not recommended. New versus used, it depends on the car. So we'll emphasize this towards the end, but we'll go ahead and move on here. Gap included, yes. The only car on a lease that Gap is not included, I believe it's Mazda now, but Toyota has never included it. It's definitely worth it, and I'll tell you more in a little bit, but Gap included on a purchase is definitely not included, and again, I'll tell you the benefit of why it's worth having it on both. What is gap insurance? So if this is you, you crashed your car and you're like, man, I just crashed my car. Let's just say that you crashed your car. AAA says, hey, your car at the time of crash, because based on the mileage and from what we see on record, it's only worth $17,000. You automatically think, man, how much do I owe? Let's just say you were financed by Wells Fargo. You're like, I owe them $22,000. What am I supposed to do? Fork out the $5,000 and pay the difference because your insurance coverage is not paying it? Most of us think, okay, well, I have full coverage. They're going to pay for everything regardless of what happens. That's not how it works. So if this is what gap covers, so $5,000, the difference, it's a one-time fee. They sell it. Everyone sells it between $500 to $900. It is negotiable, so just know that. But even if it's $595 divided by, let's just say the 36 months or 60 months, it's not that much. $10, it's totally worth it for you to have it on there. But if you need any, for me to emphasize on this, again, just let me know, reach out, DM me, text me. I'll gladly help you out. I pour a lot into our clients to really guide them, consult them. If you were to see how I print out credit reports or how I kind of make sense of people, they think I should charge people for this, to be honest, but it's just my way of being able to differentiate myself in the auto industry, because the cars sell itself. I don't really need to focus on the product. I already done enough studying and I already bought the car at a certain price knowing that it's going to sell regardless. We only make $700-800 per car. It's very easy for us to move inventory. My business partner and I, we're not car enthusiasts, so we treat this very people. We're in the business of people. We're not here to just emphasize on our pockets and make a ton of money. We're really here to serve a lot of our clients, and that's why we've been able to grow so fast. But we'll go ahead and move on the next one. Mileage overage on a lease. Again, be prepared. The wear and tear warranty, Audi and a couple other people do this. It's definitely worth it. So if you have curb rash on the wheels, if your bumper is scratched, it's typically like $1,500, maybe $2,000, just depends. But I would recommend it because in case you lose your job, something happens, and again, you can divide it between the lease or between the lease. It's not that much, because if you come to the end of the lease and you have a lot of wear and tear in your car, bald tires, this will cover it, and you won't need to worry about you don't have enough money at the end. The trade-in value lost. This is kind of prepare for that if you are going to be kind of hard-headed and take on 3-year car and then trade it in 3 years. The next one is warranty. Worth it? Yes, if it is the wear and tear on a lease. If you are leasing a car and they're trying to sell you extended warranties to 100,000 miles, do not buy a warranty, because if you're only driving 36,000 miles and the car's covered to 60,000 miles, obviously it's kind of common sense. You don't need it. On the purchase, warranty depends on the cost. So we make it very affordable. We almost do it where it's kind of common sense. We honestly don't even need to pitch it. We just present it and people are like, what, $2,000? Yeah, of course I'm going to do that. I just sold a 2018 Denali recently, and for the manufacturer warranty was going to only last for, I think, 2 more years and to 50,000 miles. So for him to extend it another 5 years up to 100,000 miles was an additional $1,800. If you really think about it, your radiator, your motor mounts, your control arms, you pretty much would break even. If not, you would save huge. And so it just depends. But the warranty is negotiable. It just depends where you go. If they're giving it to you for more expensive, you're probably at the wrong dealership. I would probably walk out and not buy a car there. But this is kind of why we are with the warranty. I would personally buy it. It's just not something that people are trying to make too much money on. Again, if they try to upsell this, because they're just trying to make an additional $2,000-3,000 on the back end so that they can take home with it. Next one is extra tips. Kia requires higher insurance coverage. So when I say this, I literally mean it. They literally want you to have higher coverage than a Porsche, than a Mercedes, than a BMW, which is crazy. You'll get a lease, and they'll say, okay, well, you got Kia Financial, you got to get the highest coverage insurance. They got all these crazy deductibles that they want. It's not worth it. So I don't recommend it. Don't buy extended warranties if you're leasing. Again, I already emphasized on that, except wear and tear. Next one here is salesmen point you to leases, lease to buy, because They know you're payment sensitive. They know they can close you easier. They know that you're just looking at the hard number of what the payment is, because most of you just look at it that way. That's why I take the time when I see credit reports, or if you have $5,000 down and you have a 590, a 630 credit score, in my head, I automatically think, what's affecting your credit score? Because if you only have a $300 collection, it's kind of common sense to pay that off if you obviously have the cash. Warranties are all negotiable, depends on how much, and they are definitely refundable. So if you total your car, you crash your car, you sold it, whatever it may be, or you realize 2-3 months in, you analyze what you did at the dealership, it is negotiable. You just need to go into the dealership and sign some paperwork. You can't do it over the phone, so don't bother calling. They'll probably ignore you, so definitely go in. Next one is gap insurance is negotiable. So again, get the gap. It's just, especially if you're putting 0 down or you're putting less than 20% down. So just do that. The next one here is you have the liberty to modify the car. I had a black car that we bought, and I sent the wheels to get painted because they were white, and I was just like, well, who would put white wheels on a black car? It was not a very nice car. But that's pretty much it, guys. And actually, last one. If you can buy used Kia, Hyundai, or Ford with limited miles, definitely do it. There's huge savings on this. I was just talking to a customer. I eventually ended up getting her a Honda, but she wanted a Kia, and I told her that Kia, Hyundai, and Ford cars depreciate a lot, like big time. So kind of showed her like, hey, look, you get a 2019 with 0 miles. It's going to be $25,000, $23,000. Then I showed her a 2019, same car with only 10,000 miles on it. Still had the manufacturer warranty. It was $13,500. That's literally like 40% depreciation. It makes no sense for you to pay that and then you buy a brand new car and it just loses its value. So these cars are the ones that, because again, I study a lot of the data and what price I'll buy a car, why it makes sense. This is the 3 brands that I definitely would tell you to buy with very low mileage, and you'll save huge. But let us know if you have any information, if we can guide you anyway. Even if you don't buy a car here at Elite Motor Group, feel free to reach out. You can pick my brain all day, and we're here to be a source. We're here to, check us out on Yelp, what clients say about us. We're really here for you, and we'll consult you. I didn't know how much of my background will implement in what I do now, but I'm here to help everyone. So take care. Thanks again, and stay in touch with the next one.